Pablo, I know that you have some fantastic presentation slides here as well. So the trading system families, looking forward to finding what this is. I'll hand over to you and allow you to get started.
Thanks very much, Simon. I'm going to try to keep it easy. It seems like a very easy topic, but it's not. And what we are going to talk basically is about different trading styles. And I call them trading system families because we like to divide them very clearly in families. And I'm going to compare them today. It's going to be kind of a fun session. And what we advise the people that they see other styles of trading, other ways of trading, and invite everybody to look into automated trading. It's not so difficult. It's not so impossible. You don't need to be an engineer. You don't need to be a mathematician. Well, I study mathematical physics, but it doesn't mean anything. I try to keep things simple, and I really invite you to do things differently. So to have a look in automated trading systems. Okay, I'm going to compare the different trading families. Like I compared always the trader that it's like a hunter, right? And what is very funny is when you see traders that go to hunt elephants in Siberia, or they go to hunt bears in Africa. That's the parallelism I make, right? And it makes no sense whatsoever. So I'm going to compare this. I'm going to talk only about 4 trading families. Just to mention, I'm going to be with Simon next weekend on the 5th of October in his venue at 4 p.m. And you are welcome to pass by. It's going to be a great venue. It's going to be a great gathering. And I'm going to develop these trading system families further. And you can meet me in person, which is the best way. I know some people are not from London, but I've had people coming from Belgium with the train over through the Calais tunnel. And you're really welcome to come over and we talk further about these topics. So we have the elephant, that's the trend systems. We have the beer, that's the breakout systems. We have the partridge, which is the counter trend systems. I'm not going to talk about this today. It's probably too difficult. The duck could be the range systems, and the rabbit are the scalping systems. Okay, so you need to have the right tools to hunt the proper animal, right? You need to be in the right place. You need to be in the right timing. Maybe it's not the right time for rabbits, right? Or not the right time for ducks, and that's very important for a trader, whether you're a manual trader or an automated trader. Okay. So this is the best example what traders do. They do it wrongly. They go hunting without any concrete idea. They just open the platform and they just start a trading day. They don't have any clear idea what they're going to hunt, right? Is it going to be a trend day? Is it going to be a breakout day? What are they looking for actually? Are they going to scalp? And that's one of the major problems when we encounter traders. That I'm not only talking about the trading plan. I'm talking really what concretely they're looking for, and that we call trading system families. Okay, so let's go one step. Well, that's what I said before, right? It makes no sense to look for elephants in Siberia, right, on the snow, okay, or look for the polar bears in Africa. You see the little bears here, right? It wouldn't make a sense, but people do that, right? They look for breakouts when there is no breakout moments, no volatility, and they're looking for trend systems or they're trading trends when the markets are totally flat. Like in 2012, we had a completely flat market in the forex markets. We have traded more forex, but not only, and people were looking for trend opportunities, which makes absolutely no sense. Okay, so this is actually what people do. Okay, they go hunting. Exactly like the doggy here on the GIF. I don't know if you can see that. And it makes absolutely no sense. Okay. So, first of all, we need to understand that there are 3 main market characteristics. There's 3 main ways. I don't care if you're trading futures. I don't care if you're trading stocks, forex, indices, whatever you're trading. There's only 3 ways that markets move. And many people don't even know this. And this is for me the basics. The basics of the basics. So we need to know what are these 3 main market characteristics and how frequently do they occur. And if you don't know that, you're completely lost in the forest trying to hunt whatever animal that moves. Okay. So we have, first of all, 70% of the time, of the market time, we are in ranges. The market is moving beyond 2 prices. I'm going to make a picture. I'm going to draw a picture actually later, just to show you the differences. And this is the main market characteristic. The market is moving between 2 levels. I don't care if these levels are even, like on the same level, or they are slightly tilted. It's still a range, okay? And I disagree fully when people say that the trend is your friend, because actually trends occur only 20% of the time. So if you catch them, good luck for you, but they don't happen so frequently. Okay, and this is very important to know. Trends are only 20% of the market time, and the rest of the time, 10% of the time, the markets are breaking out. So I'm going to make a quick drawing. Sorry for the pain, it's not in English, the software, but you will understand actually what I'm saying better with drawing, real quick drawing. And well, that's, let's say, two predefined levels. And if the price is bouncing back and forth, I also call it the ping pong, right? And we have two predefined levels. And what we do usually here is we basically sell up here, and we basically buy down here. I wish it would be always so precise that it's bouncing precisely at the level. Majority of the times, it's not precisely bouncing. You see there's a gap here. It's not bouncing exactly on the level. But if we knew what the levels are, we would be trading ranges beautifully. And normally this trading style or trading family is being traded to the mean reversion, meaning we don't trade till the price goes fully down, but we go to the mean of the channel, right? It's also called channel trading, and people discuss whether this kind of channel is a trend, right? Because it's slightly tilted. I don't want to discuss whether 5 degrees is a trend or not, but basically that's a range trading style, and this is occurring 70% of the time, as we said. That's the main actually market characteristic, and many people don't know that, and they pretend to trade trends here while we don't have these big moves, right? The other market characteristic I don't need to define, I hope everybody here knows, is the trend. And trend is defined by major highs or whatever, the usual definition, and I don't need to give it, right? That we have higher highs or lower lows, right? That's a downtrend. And that's the definition of a trend, actually. What is very important in all these trading families is that we need to first recognize them. So if you want to recognize a trend, you have first to have at least 2 highs and 2 lows, or 2 highs and 1 low, and you can trade the trend on the breakout of this level or on the pullback on this level, right? But first of all, you have to have the initial movement for the trend to be a trend. Same thing happens on the range. You cannot tell it's a range unless it hits 2 times up here and 1 time below. And you can find this all very well described in the best book on technical analysis, which is John Murphy. You can buy it in Amazon. I would say that's the Bible of technical analysis. Okay, so trend trading and range trading and breakout trading, especially these two, can only be defined after we have an initial movement and we are certain. So we are always late. We are always late in defining a range. We are always late in defining a trend. The last characteristic, which is completely different, is the breakout. And the breakout is the complete opposite of the range trading. You see it's bouncing back and forth on these levels, and at a certain point it really breaks out of this range, and this happens 10% of the times, right? So once you understand these 3 main characteristics, we'll have for sure, I'm sure Simon will make a break later for questions. You can ask them again if you have any doubts, or you can meet me next week and we can clarify exactly what these are. But I think this gives you a very pretty picture of what are the main 3 characteristics, the main 3 ways all markets move. I don't care which financial market. Okay, so based on this, we understand now that, for example, a reversal system is actually a trend system. Okay, it belongs to the trendy characteristic of the market, right? Or, for example, an Asian scalper is actually a range system. Why? Because we're basically scalping in the Asian session. We are selling on the upper part of the range, and we're buying on the lower part of the range. The only thing is we are going for 4 or 5 pips. And trading systems such as, for example, Turbo, which is very famous, or Erroneous, or other scalpers, they're basically range systems. They are scalping on the range, okay? But still, they are scalpers, but they're range systems, okay? They belong to the range market characteristic. So you need to understand, first of all, which kind of animal, which breed of animal are we talking about? Are we talking about a big animal? Are we talking about a small animal? Okay, once we understand these 3 market characteristics, we can now further define every single family of trading styles. Okay, here we have the trend system, right? It's big, right? It doesn't move with speed, right? And you need to have patience. That's the trend system. Okay, so for me, these are the elephants. What are the characteristics, the main characteristics? There's so much more to this. I mean, in our advanced education, we really delve very deeply into trading system families. Okay, so the main characteristics are these 5. Okay, they have a long ratio. What does it mean? That they take profit, the target, what we're looking to earn is usually much higher, much bigger than the risk, than the stop loss, right? So we are usually looking at 2 to 1, 3 to 1, even sometimes 4 to 1. If we're earning 3, we expect to lose 1 only. That's very correct. That's one of the main characteristics of trend systems. And they're usually traded in stock markets. Okay, trend trading is the buy and hold we heard all the time. That's the way actually Warren Buffett and many other big hedge fund managers trade. And there's nothing wrong with it. But what we suggest is that we'll talk about this next Saturday, that you build a team and that you play and that you go hunting all 4 animals. You don't need to specialize just only in trend systems. You can trade all 4. You can be a good hunter for ducks. You can be looking for elephants. You can be looking for bears, and you can be looking for rabbits. And you can train yourself in all 4. Why not? And combine them, actually. That makes you stronger. But the problem with trend systems, as we see here, is that many years, I would say it's lately, maybe with Brexit, we have, again, volatility. I'm talking about the Forex market, right? But several years, we had problems with flat markets. So they are not good to trade in flat markets. Trend systems are very easy to learn. Okay, it is the first thing you learn as a trader. They show you, okay, that's a lower, higher high. This is very easy to recognize. When you make automated trading systems, you can take 2 moving averages, or 3, or 4, or 5 moving averages to detect a trend. We have the Scott-Lowry trend system, which is a very simple trend system. You can look it up in Google. It's one of the easiest ones to learn. You can trade it on the DAX, for example, if you're in love with indices, and it's quite easy to learn. Okay, that's why the majority of traders start with trend systems. Okay, but you need to know that the entry is always delayed. Once you detect a trend, you're late. You cannot expect to forecast completely when a trend is going to start, because once a trend is started, by definition, you're late. Okay, because you already have the initial movement, and this is lost price. That's a lost impulse. You cannot catch anymore. Okay, so you need to know the entry is always delayed. Hence, the entry is not so important, because everybody will know, oh, it's uptrending. I mean, we can look at a chart. I have here MetaTrader opened, and everybody can say, well, it's very clearly a downtrend or an uptrend. We can do this later if we have time. Okay, but that's not so crucial. The crucial part in a trend system is the exit. It's very easy to enter into a trend. It's very difficult. It's really extremely difficult to decide when to exit a trade in a trend system. Why? Because we can always, the greed is there, the greed factor, and we say, okay, we already make 2 times our stop loss, but what if I stay in the trade? And this is one of the problems with trend trading. Okay. I also compare this to, I like to make the comparison with a soccer team, and we build in our education advanced soccer teams. We tell people, you need to find your 11 players, and you need to have goalkeepers. Goalkeepers are the trend systems. Here we have Iker Casillas, one of my favorites. And the good thing about trend systems is they protect your account. Okay, if you're really like the goalkeeper, right? He's protecting you, and you need to have them. You cannot be a trader and not trade, in my view. Okay, this is all personal opinions, right? You need to have at least 1 trend system in your basket. Okay, so that's the main trading families when we're talking stocks, when we're talking indices. Okay, you need absolutely to trade it. Okay, a big trade will cover a lot of losses. Okay, that's good psychologically. Okay, and it's very easy to create the entry. The exit is extremely complicated, and it's similar or akin to when a goalkeeper shoots. he shoots very far away, but you never know where the ball is going to land, right? Same thing with trend systems. You know where it starts, you never know where it ends, and it stays very long in the air, and that's actually not so good. If the market is going to turn around and you are very long in the trade, like the ball is very long in the air, you have more risks. I'm not a big fan of very long buy and hold for this reason. Okay, so I'm going to draw now what the curve looks like, and my students detect it immediately. They know immediately, oh, that's a trend system. Why? Because they know how to read curves. So in a trend system, in the balanced curve, you will have a very big trade that goes up. You can earn 4 or 5 times the stop losses, and a consecutive streak of stop losses, like 4, 5, 6, 7 trades of stop losses, and then immediately another big trade, and you get something like steps. You see this? And that's the characteristic curve of a trend system. I really invite you to go to my FX book or any other place where you have statistics, and you will see that trend systems always move like big jump, lots of losses, big jump, lots, and that's a trend system. You don't even need to read anything further about the report or how it's traded. You can detect them immediately just by the curve. So I invite you to do that. The holding times of the trades are very long. In the Forex market, we're talking beyond 60 pips. That's going to be around at least 15 hours in the market. We could discuss whether this is swing trading or position trading. Both are trend trading. Okay, the difference is basically that in swing trading, we're talking 40, 65 pips in the Forex market. And when we're talking position trading, we're probably talking weeks, and it's probably over 100 pips or so. But still, both are different subfamilies of trend systems. Okay, I hope this was clear enough. I'm very fast. I'm already in the middle of the lecture, and I still need to cover another 3 trading families. I'm going to be real fast now. Okay, the next trading family is the breakout. I compare it to the beer because it's when the beer gets aggressive, it's a lot of force involved in it. Like in the breakout, it can create big moves. And both animals are big, but the character is very different. Okay, so the breakout systems, they usually have a medium ratio to long ratio, meaning that the TP and the stop loss are normally similar. We go from a TP which is twice the stop loss to sometimes even half the stop loss. Okay, it can happen. And in my view, if it catches a very long trend after it breaks out, it's more of a trend system. And some people have problems classifying this. They say, well, that's a breakout. Yeah, it started as a breakout, but what I'm looking for is to catch a very long trend after a breakout. For example, after the Brexit, yes, you could have caught a very long downtrend on the pound, on the sterling pound. Okay, so it works very well on news, obviously, right? Because news start the highly volatile market. Okay, non-farm payroll, you name it, all kinds of news, openings of sessions, and they're very difficult to create, believe me. If you think as a manual trader, while you're going to catch a breakout, then it's akin to you just being in front of the screen and you decide, okay, I'm going to catch beers now, and tomorrow I'm going to catch rabbits, and that's not the way to trade. Okay, I insist again, you need to predefine the trading family before opening the screen, or open the screen and say, okay, today I'm going to look for breakouts. And if you have robots, it's even easier because they will decide when there is a breakout or not. Okay, in this trading family, the filter is a key part. Why? Because there's a lot of false breakouts. What is a false breakout? Basically, the price seemed to break out from the range. I'm going to show the former drawing I did. Okay, here you see it, right? It seemed to break out, but not. It went back to the range. And if it did go back to the range, it's called a false breakout, or FB, or FB or FBO, whatever term you use. Okay, so these are really causing you problems in this trading family, and you need to be very aware of that, and you need to be very good as an automated trader, at least, to create good filters for that. Okay, so breakout systems are comparable to the defender in a soccer team. I'm not favored for any team in the Premier League, okay, but they're the opposite of the range systems. They're traded the opposite. and we can see this clearly in the drawing I did before, whilst in the breakout system we are here trading basically a buy trade. Let me draw it real quick. Right, we would be expecting the price here on a buy trade. It could be a limit order or not. On the range system, we're expecting the price here on a sell order. So you can see very clearly they're exact opposites. So you need to trade always. You need to have always a defender and a midfielder together, because that makes you stronger. In other words, you need a breakout system with a range system. Okay, and we'll see later, you need a scalper with a trend system. That are the perfect matches. This team's work, and we'll be talking about it next Saturday more in detail. So the problem with this is that we have a lot. Breakout is the most traded trading family when you trade futures, especially in automated trading systems, and we have a lot of streaks of bad breakouts or false breakouts, and that's the problem with breakout systems. And as I said, the filter is crucial. Okay, let's go to the next one. And here we go. And the curve of a breakout system is basically very noisy. You can get a lot of good breakouts and suddenly a lot of false breakouts and good breakouts, false breakouts, and it would look very noisy. And you'll have streaks. You'll have like highly volatile markets which break out very well, and very flat markets which create a lot of false breakout in a row. That's how you detect these curves. Okay. They're very rough, they're very noisy. The holding times are medium. We are talking usually about 5 to 15 hours in the trade. Okay, and everything below 5 or below 3 hours, it's scalping. Okay. The breakout is very strongly used in the Forex market between sessions. Like we are waiting on the European session for the European opening to break out the Asian box, we call it, or we are waiting in the American session to break out the European range, or we're waiting in the Asian session to break out the American range, which happened before. More about it in next Saturday. Okay. The range systems, the duckies. Okay. I hope you are not falling asleep like this duck is falling asleep here. Okay. So they usually have a medium target ratio. Okay, that means that the TP, the take profit, is similar to the stop loss. The ratios are only within this range. I mean, we're trading 2 to 1 to 1 to 2. I always put the stop losses on the right side. I divide by stop losses, so that's earnings. Okay, and here on the right side we're talking losses. Okay, the market is ranging 70% of the time. That's great. So the more range systems you have, you can build your team very strongly on the midfield. Okay, and because the range system you will see now is the midfielder in the soccer team, and they're very difficult to create. That's the only handicap, really. I wish I could tell you, oh, we can create very easily range trading systems, but that's a very difficult trading family to create. Okay. Here what is important is the distance between the take profit and the stop loss, because this will make you either lose money long term or earn money long term. That's the most important thing you need to look at when you're creating range trading systems. Okay, I compare it to the midfielder, and these are again the opposite to the breakout trading systems, and as I said, difficult to detect. You need to wait a little bit to know for certain you are in a range, and they're very difficult to optimize in MetaTrader. They're not so easy to find the parameters for, and that's really one of the flaws of this trading family. So the ratio is very important. Keep this in mind, okay? When we are talking about range trading system, or somebody is explaining you a range trading style, you can call it trading styles or trading families. I prefer families because in every family there is the sub-families. Actually, counter trends can be part of range. We can trade in counter trend in range systems. So range systems have a lot of sub-families. So I prefer to call them trading system families than trading styles. Okay, style is a very vague word. It doesn't mean anything to me actually. Okay. So the curve is very varied. I cannot draw a curve for range trading systems. Sometimes it's more neat, sometimes it's not neat, but usually the lines that go up and down in the balance curve are similar because we have a system which has similar take profits and stop losses. So this down point is similar to this up point. That's the only way I could detect them visually, but actually there's not one single curve for range trading systems. The holding time, we are usually talking about range systems from 20 to 40 pips, right? Something in between. Below 12 pips, we are talking scalping. Above 50, 60 pips, it would be swing trading or trend trading, actually. And so it's in the middle, okay? That's why it's a midfielder, okay? They're very extremely difficult to create. It takes a lot of time. You need to really be very good at the markets to master range trading. Scalpers. Here we have the funny rabbit. They are very fast, right? They can hide very fast, and if you don't shoot in time, you never catch them. I'm not a hunter, okay? It's just one example. I'm not so much into hunting, but I thought it's a very good way to depict what the trading system families are. And once you leave this lecture, I hope you remember the elephant, you remember the bear, you remember the ducky, and you remember the rabbit. And that will make things easier for you to remember that you need to define what animal you're looking for. You probably need a different shotgun, and you probably need a different time of the year, and you probably need a different area to hunt them, right? These are the three elements actually in trading. The right time and the right timing. These are different things actually, okay? So the right time could be taken to the right place, right? If you go to Africa for elephants, you're in the right place. And if you go for bears to Siberia, you're in the right place, not the other way around. Scalpers, okay. Scalpers have always a short ratio. I mean, don't let them lie to you. There's never a scalper that is they take profit. Some people say, oh, I put the stop loss at 10 pips. I never saw a trading system that works just with 10 pips stop loss. It doesn't exist, not in automated trading. So I don't believe it exists in manual trading. But usually the take profit is much shorter. That's the meaning of the symbol here, than the stop loss. We're looking for at least 1 to 3 to 1 to 5. If you have, for example, a trading system that has the stop loss at 300 pips, and you're going for 10 pips, that's a ratio of 1 to 30, don't trade it. Okay? There was a actually very famous trading bot. It was called Overdrive. It was trading on the cable. Okay? The sterling pound against the US dollar, called the cable, and it was optimized on 10 pips against 300 pips. I mean, if you're trading a ratio of 1 to 30, which is crazy, of course it sold very well. It was right 95% of the times. But once it hit the stop loss, you lost the earnings of 30 trades, meaning you lost the earnings of 3 months, 6 months on your trading account. It's the same as having no stop loss, actually. So don't trade further or beyond 1 to 5 in scalping systems. Okay, you're lying to yourself. When you can scalp in all trading market characteristics. You can scalp in trends. You can have scalping trading style in breakout. Or you can scalp in ranges. What is actually scalping? Everything which is below 10 or 12 pips, right? That's actually scalping. If you want to clarify where the term comes from, just go to Investopedia and it will explain you what is actually scalping, okay? I'm not going to explain it now. So they are very easy to create. It's very easy, at least in Forex. Also in indices like the DAX, it's very easy to create a scalper, okay? But it's very difficult to maintain. It's like a striker. Strikers you can find for your soccer team. They're expensive, okay? But they're different to maintain. They're moody. They think like the superstars. They are the superstars, right? Same with scalpers. You can have an incredible streak. I don't know. There was discussions here about Ronaldo, right? Is he still as good as before? Should we pay this price for him or not? Right? Same with scalping. You know, you never know when they're finished as a trading system. You never know when they're broken. It's difficult to decide. You fall in love with them, and suddenly they don't work anymore. Okay. What's crucial actually in a scalper is the entry point. Okay. It's very similar to the striker. Why? Let me show you. Let me depict it here with a picture. I think it will be faster and you will understand why the entry is so important. Let's imagine we have here the gate. Okay, as I said, I'm not a hunter and I'm not that good in soccer either, so maybe you can correct me. But imagine Leo Messi is around here and he can shoot, right? Somewhere there is Casillas or whomever. And what about he runs a few meters and he shoots from here? So do you think the entry is crucial? The entry is everything in scalping. The 3 meters make the difference, right? The closer we are to the gate, the better the entry, the higher the probability we have success. So we're talking in scalping at least 70% success ratio. Why? Because we have very good entries. So in scalping, every pip, every quarter of a pip is crucial. Okay? I hope you got that point because it's a very important point. Okay, so scalping systems are comparable to the striker. Here we have Leo Messi. They are the total opposite of trend systems, and they combine perfectly with them, right? The minimum you should trade is a scalper and a trend system together. That's actually the offer we have with AtsiTrader if you open an account, but I'm not going to talk about it now, only at the very end, okay, or next Saturday. So the problem with scalping is that you trade a lot. So that creates a sort of an addiction. Okay, I tell you, I've been doing manual scalping full time as just for 1.5 years, and it's very addictive. They're very easy to optimize, the scalpers, and they break very easily. That's not that good actually, and the entry is very crucial. How far are you from the gate, from the ideal, from the optimal point to shoot? That's the gate, okay? The certainty of success. The curve is very characteristic on a scalper. We actually have a lot of winning trades, more than 70% in a row. Winning trade, 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 stop loss. And the stop loss takes at least 3 or 4 or 5 winning trades. And again, we start a new streak. Winning trade, winning trade, winning trade, winning trade, stop loss. You can recognize very easily this curve is the total opposite to the trend system, which is 1 winning trade, stop loss, stop loss, stop loss, stop loss, 1 winning trade, stop loss, stop loss, stop loss, stop loss. And if you imagine visually and you combine both curves, now you will understand why you should always trade scalping and trade systems together, because you balance both curves out, the drawdowns, and you get the ideal trading combination or the dream team, okay, which is a trend system or the trend system family together jointly with a scalping family. Okay, that's the reason. It's the same as having 1 goalkeeper and 1 striker. You can start playing football, right? Even if you play around the corner down in the park, but you need at least 1 goalkeeper and 1 striker to call it football, right, or soccer. Okay, so they have very short holding times, usually below 10 to 12 pips, the target, okay, and there are on average 1 to 3 hours in the market, depending on the pair. Some pairs are faster. The pound against the yen is a very fast scalping pair, and the euro dollar is average. The cable is quite fast, okay. If we're talking minutes, we are talking actually about low latency scalper. That's a subfamily. We also call those in our education ultra scalpers. These are scalpers that trade in the minute time frame. Okay. They're easy to find, they're easy to create, and they're very, very difficult to maintain. Okay. Easy to find, scalpers, difficult to maintain. So we have all 4 families. We covered all of them. I managed in 39 minutes. I thought I was never going to manage. Okay, and we can leave the 5 minutes we have still for questions. I just want to show you the next slide. That's what many traders do. It's kind of a joke. Okay, I hope it makes you laugh. If you only trade trend systems and you trade a lot of them, or the same trend systems on a lot of pairs, or the same trend systems or on a lot of stocks or on indices or whatever, what happens is this. you got a lot of elephants, and it may run well, right? I don't know if you appreciate the GIF, if it's moving on your screen or not, or it may run badly. We lost an elephant there. I don't know if you could see that. Okay, so don't trade only trend systems. That's my recommendations. Please understand there's more animals in the field to hunt, and don't specialize only in trend systems because it's easy, because it's the easy thing to do. You need to learn to trade more things if you want to become a pro trader, actually. Okay, so if Simon, if you want to ask some questions, or we have time for questions.
Yeah, we've got a little bit of time. Thank you, Pablo. That's great. I'm amazed that a Madrileno would use a Barcelona football player in his slides.
Yes. Actually, I was starting to do that, but I thought
a cardinal sin. But
it's really a crime. I know that.
Well, fantastic. It's a very interesting subject, Pablo, and I love the graphics that you do to bring it to life. With the animals, it's fantastic. We do have a few questions that have been sitting. So I thought we'll wait and we'll come back now to them. So Doriel, he's asking, is your trading robot, does it include all the patterns that you're talking about?
It includes only two. Well, the offer we have is if you open a live trading account with AxiTrader, you will get a trend system and a scalper together. But still, you need to learn to optimize it for the different pairs. You'll get two patterns only, trend and scalping, for free, actually.
Okay, thank you. And does it work with MetaTrader?
It does. It does. Actually, I have here. I opened here AxiTrader's MetaTrader. I'm gonna show you on the screen. I don't know if we see it in the full screen or not, or I need to just cut the video later. Probably. Let me just do it properly.
No, it's fine. We can do that. Yeah.
It's better if we have the right size, right? Just give me 1 sec, and I prepare that properly. Okay, here we go. Basically, what we train people, and I really strongly recommend you come next Saturday, because this was only an intro and it was only 45 minutes, and next Saturday we'll have another 45 minutes to develop this topic further. And I really consider this is one of the crucial topics in trading. I don't care if you trade stocks, indices, futures, forex, or whatever. You need to distinguish the trading families code. If I tell my students, if I wake you up or your wife wakes you up in the middle of the night and she asks you scalping, you need to say immediately entry. If she asks you trend systems, you just need to say immediately exit. If she asks you breakout, you need to say immediately filter. What's the crucial point on every trading family? Okay, and that's actually what we teach. And I'm going to show you the bot in action. It's just here, and it's a MetaTrader bot. And the only condition we put for this is you need to trade. You need to open a live account with a broker. And later on, I can explain you what our education consists. And we have many people coming actually from London. I have pictures here. In just 1 minute, and this was actually one of the last. This was one of the lectures that we did, and Simon collaborated with us in one marketplace in front of Bank of England, big crowd. We were the last year a lot of times in London, and always Simon was helping us with the promotion. And this was one of the English groups that came to Madrid. This is actually our terrace and our training lab, and we have all kinds of people, and there's professional traders like this gentleman here. He's managing funds in London, actually several million, and they came over just to get the full education with us, and it's a 5-day course. It's very intensive, and you get the whole thing. You get robots for all kind of patterns, also for other trading families, not only for scalping and trend systems. Okay, so this is a bit what we do actually. So more questions?
Yes. No. Stuart says, wouldn't combining breakout and trend systems enable you to get into a trend early? For example, a breakout occurs and this would be followed by a trend.
Yes, it's all a question of the exit, and basically what you are asking about, I forgot your name.
Stuart.
Stuart, what you're asking about is about the trailing stop. Basically, what you're asking about here is about position management. Is where do I exit? And the solution for that is a good trailing stop, and that's very, very difficult. In the free system we have a trailing stop that exits by volatility. It detects when the market is less volatile after a strong impulse, and then it moves the trailing. Basically, it has a very smart filter that decides, okay, now the market is more calm, but we had an impulse. It's the moment to move the trailing stop a little bit further. If you're not acquainted with trailing stops, I can make a small drawing, and I don't get the paint to come to the other screen. So maybe I'm going to draw it up here, even if it doesn't look so nice or so neat. But basically, the trailing stop is moving the stop loss in your favor. Let's say you would have here a buy trade, and this is the stop loss here. Obviously, it's below because you have a buy trade. And let's say, imagine the price would go in your favor, and you start moving the stop loss. Usually, the manual traders do it below the next low, and they follow the trend. And moving the stop loss in this direction is called a trailing stop. Okay, but what I want you to understand, Stuart, is trend trading and breakout trading are different animals. Let's not mix them. Okay, we need to know beforehand, are we looking for a breakout or are we looking for a trend, independently on how far this breakout goes. Okay?
Okay, what code languages do you use for the robots, asks Wang.
MQL4, that's the standard. It's very similar to C, and I would say MetaTrader is the office of automated trading. I mean, 90% of the automated traders in the world are using MetaTrader. So it's a decision like saying, well, I want to do a spreadsheet. Well, should I do it in Excel, which everybody's using, or should I do it in Lotus 1-3, which nobody's using? I mean, my answer is MetaTrader. I mean, you can get free manuals, or you can write us, and we can hand over a free manual on coding. But again, coding is not so relevant. You need to learn trading first. I mean, we don't teach coding in our courses. We teach trading system analysis. Mm-hmm. That's what I did now, actually. I just opened your mind, I hope, and told you, okay, there's 4 different animals. Watch out. So this is the first thing you need to learn. Coding can be done inexpensively in Eastern Europe. You can find coders in Russia, Romania, Bulgaria, Ukraine for very little money. You can code for £40 a trading system. Really, that's really inexpensive.
Mm-hmm. Walter, he's asking, what is your favorite trend following indicator? He uses the ADX.
ADX is not bad for the entry, actually, more than for the trend following. I would say that modified moving averages. I don't know if you know the super trend. Super trend is modified moving averages, which does very well. There is another one which is called DEMA. It's the double exponential moving average. This serves quite well for following trends. And we did several systems with super trend. And another very good indicator for trend systems is the CCI. I think CCI is much stronger than ADX, actually. I use ADX more in breakout systems. See? That's actually a very good question, because it's all about the topic I lectured today, right? And when we have the wrong shotgun, right? I'm not saying ADX is wrong for trend systems. No, by far not. But CCI is better. Okay? Why do I know that? Because we did over 400 trading systems and we studied over 1,000. I'm doing this for the last 9 years, right? So I've seen a lot of trading systems, and I've seen CCI to work better in trend systems.
What about the full optimization result graph for the 2 experts? Dorio was asking.
I recommend really very strongly. I'm going to put here our YouTube channel, because today's topic was not about optimization. I know you guys want to know everything in one lecture, but it cannot be covered. And I just give me 1 sec. I'm going to put here our YouTube channel. Actually, you can look for it, the FX method. You look for it in YouTube, and it will show up. But I'm going to put the link here. And there we have like 5 videos of 1 hour on optimization. I just strongly recommend. Several of them actually were lectures with Simon. He has also several videos of us in his channel, and I just strongly recommend that you watch those and get a better idea on optimization, you know, because it's a very, very, very complicated topic actually. Here's the link of the YouTube channel. You can have a look at it, and you can subscribe actually, and you'll get videos for free.
I'm just reposting that link, so we'll go to everybody. Yeah, there we are. So everybody has that link to the YouTube channel. Fantastic. Well, Pablo, maybe just one more question. What is it? The approximate numbers of line of code in each expert? And again, we're maybe getting a bit technical.
I got the question, yeah. Regularly, if we look at a good trading system, I hope I can show you here Augmented Trader again one more time, not less than 500 lines. Probably you're a coder, and the person who asked, I'm curious, probably it's a coder asking programmer. Are you a programmer? Just by chance. So normally I would say beyond 500 lines. The super simple trading systems will not work very well. They will not make good money, and the hyper complex trading systems will not work either. So I would say starting around 500 to 1,000 lines of code. That's usually what I've seen works best. But you can have surprises of less lines of code working well. But I would say on average we're talking 500 lines of code. I wanted to open a trading system actually and show you how many lines of code it has. It's kind of technical, but maybe one example. If you go here to the expert tab in MetaTrader, I don't know if you see it here, and we open it here with modify, we'll have immediately the code. If it's an open source code, but if you bought it, normally they don't give you the source code because they want to keep the property rights of the trading system. And you can check here how many lines of code. That has around 2,000 lines of code. That's a very long trading system, right?
Okay. Dario is a programmer. Yes, I am a programmer. Will the code be given? I suggest probably drop you an email.
No, the code not. I will give you the EX4. I will give you open. The trading system is tradable in all brokers. We don't lock it only for AxiTrader, but you need to open a. Just send us an email and we'll clarify the offer. But you can trade it unlimited. I mean, we don't have a limited time. We don't force you to trade in a certain amount of lots. You can trade it freely. But we don't give you the idea behind it. If that's the question, it's our copyright. I'm sorry. I mean, if it's a free offer, I cannot give you even the whole source code. I hope you understand that.
So, Pablo, with these robots, how much attention should you need to pay as a trader? It can't be as simple as setting up and just letting it run on its own. How often should you be checking and revising and amending?
It's actually not. It needs a lot of attention, and to be honest, everything in life needs a lot of work. I mean, I know there is a lot out there, like there was 4-hour work week by Tim Ferriss, and a lot of books in this direction, no? And everybody's thinking passive income, which is great, but let's be honest here. I mean, passive income takes a lot of work. I mean, we are 9 years developing, we are 9 years working out, and still we need to watch at the trading systems, and it takes work. I mean, that's the plain truth. The only benefit, well, I wouldn't say the only one, is the psychological one. I mean, we have a clear control of the results. We have a clear control of the risk levels, right? And that's very good. I mean, in the sense that we know what to expect. We don't have surprises. Even people that don't code, they can get there. I mean, with our method, we teach them from A to C where to find the bots, how to make them if they want to make them, or how to find them. You don't need to code at all. You can find good bots and re-optimize them and just combine them. If you know that you need to have at least one elephant, one bear, right, one duck, and one rabbit, that's the minimum. So you have 4 players and you combine your soccer team. And that's what we will be talking about next Saturday. How to make the dream team, actually. How to get this right combination of players. But it takes time. I don't believe in easy solutions or 5 minutes set and forget trading styles. I don't believe in that.
Fantastic. Well, Pablo, I think we're just about a few minutes away from the top of the hour. I will say thank you very much indeed for coming and joining us and telling us all about the expert algo trading robots.
Audio Jungle.